Hi. Pleasure and thrill being in front of you. I've never been on a stage of the opera, so please do not expect me to sing. Today's presentation is going to be about a thing we call loftivism. And I hope, is this working? Oh, wow. Well, we all know about the hacktivism and about the clicktivism, which is like with a click of the mouse you can save the world. But today we want to explore a little bit about the power and humor and creativity and how this can change society. And yes, I assume we all love jokes, but what the jokes do have to do with the revolutions and how this thing is related, well, this is what this story is all about. For centuries now, the social scientists are talking about one thing: conditions. So they are looking at the social change, they are looking at the revolutions, and they say, you need this big percent of educated people to have the revolutions. Oh, you will never have a revolution if the people are living in the villages. Oh, you will never have a revolution if people are too happy or too well paid. Conditions, conditions, conditions. I've spent the last 10 years of my life traveling around the globe and meeting problem makers. And there is one thing I've learned. It's not about the conditions. It is about emotions. It is about the emotions which are driving the people around this place. Well, look into this prejudice. You can look at the faces of the traditional revolutionaries like Lenin and Mao and Che and Castro and even Yugoslav leader Tito, and you can see them, they're really grim guys, really guys. And they're like that, scientist says, they should be serious because they're involved with a serious business of the revolution. Very unlike that, modern revolutionaries on another side of the slide are looking like they escaped from party. They sing, they dance, they drum, they whistle, they smile, they're all covered with badges, and they look ridiculous in a way. Well, who has the right now? It's a big question. There is a fantastic study published by two American scholars, Maria Stephan and Erika Chenoweth, called Why Civil Resistance Work. It looks into 323 different campaigns, violent and non-violent campaigns, from the beginning of 20th century to 2006. Results? Impressive. If you're a serious armed revolutionaries, your chance to success are about 26%. If you're a ridiculous-looking non-violent revolutionaries, your chances are twice as big. So it seems that these laughing, ridiculous-looking guys know what they are doing, and they are not ridiculous at all. There are three main reasons why humor is such a powerful weapon in a social movement, especially when you're opposing the big guys, the tough guys, the dictators. First, humor melts fear. Fear is the air that dictators breathe. Without the fear, they cannot survive. There is nothing which breaks fear faster than a joke or a humor. Second, humor makes your movement looking cool. And if your movement is cool and in, everybody wants to join. So your movement really grows. Three, humor and mocking creates a huge dilemma for your opponent. If they react, they will look stupid. If they don't react, other people will start mocking them as well. I've learned about the power of the humor and the dilemma combined when I was a young student in Serbia. We were a really small movement at the time, maybe 15 people, and our budget at that point was about 50 euro. So we came out with this revolutionary idea that we will paint the big oil barrel in the red, we'll put a hole on the top, we'll paint our beloved President Milosevic on it, so when you put the coin in, you buy yourself right to hit this barrel. Boom! So we bring it into the main shopping district, just left it there and went for a coffee. Within the range of minutes, there was a clue of people waiting, to express their honor to Mr. President. Well, you think this is the funny part? No. The funny part was when police arrived. So what the hell they are going to do? To arrest downtown shoppers doesn't make sense. To arrest us, we are nowhere to be seen. So you bet they did the funniest thing. They arrest the barrel. So the picture of the two policemen dragging this barrel into the police car was the best photo shoot of the month in Serbia. It was all over newspapers and they really looked ridiculous. So to use this humor times dilemma action thing is always best when you have a stupid restriction. For example, in Iran, maybe to your shock, women are prohibited from going to the sports events. But women love sports in Iran, like everywhere else. So what happens when the group of brave women disguise themselves as a man and smuggle themselves to the decisive match for a World Cup between Iran and Bahrain? And even worse, they sit on a straight place where every single shot of camera will cover them. So what happens is that what the government will do. They will come in, interrupt the match, arrest these women, create international scandal, or they will leave them sit there and give the example to others, so maybe they will go to the football match. Well, Iranian editor Jafar Panahi made a movement about this. It's very good. It's called Offside. It earned him international glory, but until then, he's in house arrest. So one big applause for brave Iranian woman. The use of humor is not limited only to the autocracies. When Occupy Wall Street social movement hit hard, United States of America last year, the first movement of the New York police was to build a fence around this big iconic monument of the Wall Street Bull, this big thing. And of course, you know, it was all over the fence, and the people were thinking how to get into it. Well, there is a very powerful and creative group of leftists in the US called Yes Men. They are the real nightmare of the greedy corporations. They come out with a very simple idea. Two people dressed like clowns were making police busy. They were teasing them, they got arrested, while the guy dressed like Matador jumped over the fence, symbolically killed the bull, and even earned himself a free ride on the top of the New York police cars. No matter, this thing has about 1 million views on the YouTube. Well, humor works very well even in a very cold climate. Last year, demonstrations against the election fraud in Russia were not only limited to Moscow and St. Petersburg, but in smaller places, people were prohibited to go out and protest on the street. So in a very, very small place called Barnaul, somewhere in Siberia, last February, people came to the genius idea. They will bring their kids' toys to the square to organize a toy protest. It all went fine day one, and everybody was having fun, and even you could see the policemen taking photos with their cell phones. And then the thing went on YouTube, and then it went viral. And then somebody was very unhappy in the Kremlin, I assume, and somebody picked up the phone and said, "You need to stop this thing." So when they filed for their toy protest tomorrow, the protesters from Barnaul got official paper from the police saying that protest of 100 Kinder Surprise toys, 100 Lego people, 20 model soldiers, and 10 toy cars is banned because the toys are not citizens of Russia. They're made in China. So next time, please use a little bit either Russian babushka for a protest or find themselves a nice toy passports. From Russia all the way to Balkans, Montenegro. You know, losing a luggage in a plane, it's not a very pleasant thing, but it's not a big drama. In fact, it happens to me half of my life. When you lose the last clean pair of underwear in that luggage, it's a bit unpleasant. But when you are accused for using state-sponsored credit card for buying lost underwear, like it happened to the Montenegrin Prime Minister last year, then you are in trouble. So what happens next, you can see on the screen. Anti-corruption group organizes a protest in front of the government, collects a lot of the spare underwear, gives a pair to every minister just in case that they can lose their luggage. They have one spare pair. Picture says more than 1,000 words. There are tough places of this world, and one of the toughest places of this world in this particular moment is Syria, where people are dying for more than a year. But that, however, didn't prevent a group of 4 Syrians to come out with their own version of spitting image. Go on YouTube and look at a thing called Top Gun, which mimics the situation on a Syrian court and really pisses the government off. Despite all of the bombings and the violence, the people have found their spirit and there are Syrians who still believe in a humor and a non-violent struggle. 2 thumbs up for these guys. Well, you remember this thing? It was called Egyptian windows. It was very popular January last year. If you don't see it on the screen, the first one was during the time when revolution happened in Tunisia, and most of Egyptians were very jealous that they didn't make it still, so they created these lovely little windows of opportunity, so you could see files copying freedom from Tunisia to Egypt, few days remaining, and then this lovely sign like, when you find the virus. It's like, we cannot copy the freedom from Tunisia to Egypt, you need to remove Mubarak first. Well, Mubarak was successfully removed, and this was a very nice screensaver for quite a while. But what happened when 2 years after this change, the first democratically elected president of Egypt, Morsi, tried to grasp a little bit of power? This. Within the range of the minutes, the power of loftivism in Egypt not only portrayed the new president and labeled him as a pharaoh, came out with the thousands of jokes and the cartoons, and now you have millions of people protesting there and struggling to maintain democracy. Well, of course, the government does all the nasty stuff. They don't know how to respond. They chase newspapers. They are all over after people who are teasing them. One of the top state comics, called Bassem Youssef, is of course under the pressure. But hey guys, this is not how the things are happening. Once the spirit of the laughter and people power come out of the box, you can't put it back in. This is not working this way. Well, the grand lesson here is, whether democratically elected or autocrats, politicians tend to behave in a certain way. Maybe they spend too much time watching themselves on the TV screens, or their big images on the billboard, or they're looking to their faces in the newspapers. I know you know what I'm talking about. And they start believing this image of themselves. The people power, and specifically humor and leftivism, are there to help common people put them back to their senses and to empower common people. There are so many creative, cool, and humorous ways to fight for democracy, human rights, and against the corruption. So keep on laughing your way to victory, and keep on changing the world with a smile on your face. Thank you.